Joseph, and I'm going to be sharing out of a different translation because it speaks more like we do today. And we'll do a little quick review. And this was a time where Joseph had gone through, he had some good days, he had some bad days, he had some days where things were against him, and Yah was with him through it all. Even when he gave him dreams and he shared the dreams with his brothers. And of course, it unnerved some of his brothers. And I wanted to point out that sometimes, saints, even in our lives, sometimes things that he gives us, sometimes we might want to just hold it. We might just want to, as they said about Mary, that she hid some things in her heart. And sometimes it will do us well, because what we have found in looking at the story, sometimes even when something comes from the Most High, not everyone is going to be excited for you. And sometimes because of our human nature, there may be a little bit of envy or a little bit of jealousy because sometimes we think, well, why didn't I receive that? And he loves us all, and we know that, we believe that. But what it appears to be at times, saints, is sometimes certain things come to us because it's in proportion to how hard we're really running after him. Sometimes in life, saints, after we made that quality decision to follow him, sometimes we can find ourselves going through the motions. And I'm not saying that we're being half-hearted about it. We're still on point with it. We're still, we set our face like a flint, but that's in our heart. But the rest of our body is sometimes kind of going through the motions. This morning, when I came in and we were in a real state, and that's not to say that other times we haven't been, but this morning was really a special time of worship, the type of worship that he's been seeking. And so often, a lot of times when it's a church-centered event, we have taken it upon ourselves to formulate a form of praise and worship, and that's not coming against what we are all used to. I'm not saying that. But I do see a day and a time where not only this place of worship, but other places of worship are going to begin to do things more how they're being directed by him, not by what's been set up system-wise. Today was nothing strange to me. And again, not that I'm anybody that has to oversee anything. I'm not saying it from that vantage point. But I see a day, I see a time where in each of our lives, as we continue to try to understand and walk out his teachings and instructions, we're going to get different types of ways to walk out the Torah, different types of ways to come to what we call church. There could come a day where there will be no singing? I don't know. But one thing will reign true, the word will go forth. The word will always go forth. And again, that's not coming against what we've all grew up with. I'm not trying to change that. All I'm trying to say is, let's be on the lookout for what it is he's leading, what he's guiding, what he's directing. And let's follow. Let's do that, regardless of how unorthodox it may appear. Because, see, some of you spoke about times where you were having an intimate moment with the one that made you. That's really what it's all about. And it is beautiful when we do come together, because I know we all know, particularly folks that really enjoy coming to church, let the brethren, assemble together and all of that. And yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And I'm not coming against that. But a lot of times in doing that, we find ourselves going through the motions. We find ourselves checking off the boxes. And I've said in times past, Torah, his teachings and instructions are for living, not just reciting. See, we can recite and our lives are still in disarray. In the doing, it will combat, or it will be in the doing is the answer to maybe not having as many challenges. I'm not saying we'll have no challenges. He set it up that there would be challenges. But the Torah is to help us overcome the challenges that come, because they are going to come. It rains on the just and the unjust. But when the sun shines, the sun's shining on the just and the unjust. And I'm not making light of anybody. That is going through a challenge. Challenges, saints, are a part of all of our lives. And some challenges, we'd rather get a hall pass. And some we may get one. But a lot of that, again, comes back to how well we're attempting to live out the teachings and instructions. It's almost as if he's saying, well, he did. He said, what? I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. But then he said, choose life. Life is in the Torah. Life is in the teachings and instructions. In 44 of Genesis, by a quick review, Joseph's father said, hey, there's a famine in the land, everything's dried up. Hey, go down to Egypt, get some corn, and so we can eat, so we can survive. The brothers went down, and we all know about the dreams that Joseph had, and we know that his brothers, they got irritated with him, and we all, know from time to time, if you got siblings, and particularly brothers sometimes, you're going to have a difference of opinion. You still love each other, but you're going to have a difference of opinion. And sometimes you might actually get in a fight. And they went to see Joseph, or they went to buy some corn, and so they could bring it back. And Joseph knew that they were his brothers, but he talked to them at first through an interpreter. And he accused them. He said, hey, y'all spies. And they said, no, we're not spies. No, and of course, they gave their life story. And I even said at that time, I said, sometimes, saints, we're too quick to volunteer too much information sometimes. And when I make statements like that, saints, I'm not telling you to be, sly or cunning. I'm not saying that. But as the people of the Most High, sometimes we're too quick to lay everything out. Even in business, and I'm not saying in business we ought to be people of integrity all the time. And but sometimes in negotiating, you already know your breaking point. You know at what point you can't close the transaction. If you got $100 in your pocket and the item is 110, well, you know you're $10 short. Or you go to an auction. You don't know what the winning bid's going to be. And I'm glad auction came. Thank you, Father. See, in an auction, you have whatever the amount is. And when you see that item, be it a car or be it a watch or be it a painting or art or whatever, you generally won't, well, I don't know, unless you don't have time. Most people, they don't start out high. Now, the guy that's running the auction, he's going to try to get it at a certain level first. And, you know, I've been watching a lot of car dealers thing because I'm real interested in the automotive industry because, you know, prices should be coming down, but saints, they're not coming down yet. The lots are full of cars, new and used. And, you know, we're thinking, most of us, most everyday people, we're thinking, you know, they've got to lower the price because, you know, they have to pay, they have to pay, I think they call it a layout fee. See, they're renting space on that lot. A lot of us didn't know that. Now these are the big dealers that are doing this, not the you know, John's Auto Sales. If John's got a car lot, he owns most of those cars that are on his lot. But like, you know, and I don't want to call any names, but the big manufacturers that they have dealerships, those dealerships are paying almost like rent for those cars to be on the lot. And see, most of us everyday people, we didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I'm looking at the economy overall, but I take it industry by industry because I keep waiting. Hey, the prices got to come down. But what I found out was part of the reason why the prices aren't coming down, and I'm going to get back to, this is all tied in with Joseph too, because in the scriptures it didn't say he gave, you know, Pharaoh put everything under Joseph's control. Remember that. Everything was under Joseph's control. So in a way, Joseph had say-so over who ate and who didn't. But let me get back to the automotive thing, because some of you might be needing a car. I don't know. I need another work truck, but that's why I'm watching. But, I keep waiting. Hey, this thing has to the prices have to come down. And saints, what's happening is the prices are staying where they are because when the pandemic hit and everybody was getting stimulus assistance and other things, dealers upped the ante on the manufactured suggested retail price. People that bought cars a few years ago paid, anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 to $15,000, and if you got a new one, maybe even 20 grand. Those Ford F-150. Oh, I didn't mean that. Certain trucks. They're $100,000 plus. Trucks. And the banks, which are tied in with the auto industry, they were approving loans when the people were paying $20,000 more than the sticker price. Now, most of us, again, we're everyday people. Most of us, we would never pay the sticker because you were always waiting for, you got to have some kind of discount. You got to have some kind of, you got to have something to help me pay for this car. And so the reason why a lot of them haven't lowered the prices because the banks have tightened the financing. And so now the dealers eventually going to be forced to lower the prices, but you know what else is going up? Repossessions. So with the repossessions coming back, going up, that's adding more to the dealerships. They don't want those cars back. And so most of us, I grew up in a household where I was not allowed to buy a new car. If I wanted to stay under that roof, get something used. And so then I said, well, hey, yeah, get something used. Get something less than 4 years old because it still got the warranty on it. Well, the used cars are still, they're up too. And I'm just using the auto industry, but other industries, you all know, everything's up. Everything's up. And see, in this thing, there was very little food. There was very little, and Pharaoh was like, but Joseph, hey, you handle this for me. Because, why? He could interpret what happened. He talked about the 7 years of famine, 7 years of good. We had a few years where everything was good. Some of us was, and again, that's not a knock. I'm just saying, some of us was getting stimulus money, depending on what type of employment you had. Some people, to stay at home, was actually making off their regular check, I guess, more than what they were making had they gone to work. So everybody was living large for a while. But now, stuff's tight everywhere, and we want to know what to do. And so Jacob was like, hey, guys, ain't no food around here. Let's go down to Egypt. Take something with you. Go down to Egypt and get us some corn, get us some victuals, get us something to eat. And so somebody, looking for an automobile, my goodness, what do I do? What do I do? And here's where Torah comes back into play. Because saints, a lot of times we say, well, everything's going up. Barry, I don't have time to do the research. I was watching something before I came here, and guys, the more convenient things become, the more we're going to have to pay. And if they get it to where you're paying consistently, then you're going to have to subscribe. I was watching a piece where they're saying 62 ways to become rich. And and they had some stuff. Some stuff was just crazy. But it was 62 ways. But do you know what was in one of them? Of course, they were talking about become a content creator, whatever. But they said, and this, when I heard that, I was like, here it is. They said, get in a subscription-based business. And I've said to you in times past, it's coming to where you will get to a point where, let's take a pair of glasses. Wouldn't it be awful if you could no longer just go to 4 Eyes or you got to go to the optometrist, I guess, and they got to do a test or whatever. What if it came to a day where all you could do is lease your glasses? They've already done that with our phones, and I know everybody laughed at me because, I still got a track phone. No, I shouldn't have called that name. And again, listen, the way the economy's going, that's what's happening. Now, I'm not saying that it'll get to, but it could. And if it doesn't come to that, I was in a place that I get a lot of my cleaning products from yesterday, and they had about 20 or 30 computers come in. And, we're not as, most everybody that's working in an office, now you got 2 and 3 computers on your desk. I'm like, oh my goodness. But they're still cranking them out. But is something wrong with the computer that we got? I was looking for a car and a truck. And I went on, I guess y'all probably gonna laugh, but I went on Bing, I think. Because I think that's by Microsoft, I don't know. But I was just looking at different trucks. And then all of a sudden my computer started talking about I'm in a crazy site or something, and they wanted me to click on something, so I just shut it off. And they said, don't shut off. And when they said, don't shut it off, I shut it off. But see, I'm not that tech savvy. But I got it. I said, now here it is. I'm trying to get a truck, and I know they try to put a virus on you or something on your computer, and I was like, golly, I gotta get away. I gotta get another computer, and I said, I done gave away about 2, 3, 4 of them. But then y'all know that I'm also dealing with trying to curtail my spending. So I cut it off, and I waited about 10 minutes, and I fired it back up, and it was fine. But if I had clicked on that thing, they would have got me. And who knows, I still might have a virus. I hope not. But saints, what I'm trying to convey to you is everybody, when we get paid, which most of us probably, we don't even get a paper check anymore. Most of us don't. Get a paper check, it go right into your account. That's real convenient. Don't answer, but have any of you had a situation with your bank where, did you know that if the IRS got a situation with you, they'll contact your bank and your bank is going to do what the IRS say, not what you say? Did you know that? You know, we are losing control over our very funds. And you know, you get mad and you say, well, you know, you carried me through all of this. I'm moving off to another bank. That bank's going to do the same thing. I wish you'd get to the scriptures. I am. Because, see, what I'm trying to show you is the same kind of stuff that was happening back then. Now, they weren't dealing with computers, but control was in the hands of only a few people. Pharaoh could make the call. Joseph could make the call. And this was over everything. In 44, okay. Well, let me go to 43 because I really love this story. It says, but the famine was severe in the land, so when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said to them, "Go again, buy us a little food." Judah said to him, "The man expressly warned us, you will not see my face unless your brother is with you." Now, remember, Joseph told them, well, when you come back, bring that youngest one. And remember, you know, I said to you last week, I said, Joseph was having a bit of fun with him in a way, but in a way, he probably felt like, I'm gonna pay them back a little bit. I mean, he loved his brothers. Let me say that. He loved his brothers. But they did put him down in the pit, and he had some hard days, you know. And see, sometimes, saints, we do stuff to one another, and we quick to want to remind one another now. You know, the word say, you got to forgive me, brother. You got to forgive me, sister. You know, and yeah, they can forgive you, but, you know, they might still, if you drop a bowling ball on my foot, I know you might not have meant it, and you might have meant it. I don't know. I hope you didn't. But it still hurt. So, I can't, in the midst of me saying, ouch, I can't say, ouch, I forgive you. I'm just going to say, ouch, that hurt. So Joseph was like, okay, they back. And I remember I told them about the dream that I had, and they laughed at me. And remember I pointed out how they addressed him because they didn't recognize him, of course. And they used terms like my Lord and stuff like that in the King James Version. And everything that he was telling them about, it kind of came to pass. So now they've gone back, and their father saying, well, go back again. And then one of them said, but if you will send our brother with us, we'll go. And he said, you will not see my face unless your brother is with you. Why did you bring such trouble my way by telling the man that you had another brother? See, remember earlier I said sometimes, saints, we talk too much. So Joseph's father said to his sons, who told y'all to tell him that we had you had another brother. And this is what I'm saying. Saints, I'm not telling you to be dishonest. I'm not telling you to be disingenuous. I'm just telling you, don't tell all your business. See, because we've come up in a culture where we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We love everybody, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't love everybody, but please be a little more cautious. Because see, everybody's not going to be kind back to you just because you're kind. Now again, I'm not saying be mean, be spiteful, be deceptive. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, saints, some suffering we do is of our own doing, because sometimes we talk too much. We tell too much. And here's another tidbit, and then I'm going to move on. If you find you like to talk a lot, don't tell anything about your siblings or your parents. If you just gotta tell a whole lot, talk about yourself only. But I would not recommend that you overtell anything. Jacob was angry with them. So what you tell him? What you tell him about Benjamin for? I done lost Joseph. Now the man want Benjamin. See, sometimes I used to have conversations with my dad, and sometimes, I would, of course, I'm going to let him talk because he's going to say what he got to say. But I remember sometimes I would say to him, I said, well, Pop, I said, that's just wonderful. I said, that's real good. I said, but, Pop, everybody ain't trying to live right. Now, I wasn't going against what he was saying, but I'm like, hey, wait a minute, man. We out there with the sharks. And I know, because everybody like to say, the Bible said, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Which I understand. But see, sometimes being harmless as a dove is zipping the lip. See, sometimes, and same thing, even in business, sometimes if you're getting ready to start a business, keep it to yourself. Listen, and this is among your friends. Sometimes it's best to report to your friends what you're going to do after you've done it. Not before. Because, see, sometimes they think they're well-meaning. That's not going to work. What you want to do that for? Let me share something else with you, and then I'll move on. If you were going to divulge, or if you were going to convey to them what it is you're planning to do, would not it have been better if you said to them, I'd like your opinion on something? See, in this age that we're in, I've said it repeatedly, a lot of people are going to come to you. Now, some of them might come and say, I'm starting a bakery next week. But some might say, hey, this is what I've been thinking about. What do you think of that? And then you can, give them your best counsel, considering how well you really know them. And considering the fact that, wow, they really want to know what I'm thinking about that, because you don't want to crash anybody's dreams. But if it's one of your running buddies and here's the thing. Just because you enjoy going to a ball game or you go shopping together and you like a lot of the same things, do you think that person will make a good roommate? Don't answer. How many of us have, when we first moved out of the house, maybe we got a place and maybe a group of us say, hey man, we can live cheap if about 2 or 3 or 4 of us get an apartment together, just starting out. And because we all get along so good. But see, we don't know everybody's living habits. We don't know how people treat their obligations. You might look up on yours, and the other person be like, hey man, I don't have the rent money this month. And I say, what? No, let me change that around. I say to John, I don't have the rent money this month. Can you catch me? And John will say, well, yeah, bro, I can catch you. But wait a minute. We threw that party last week, and I saw you put $200 down on the table. See, I'm serious too, saints. See, because this is what some saints do. And I'll just stick with the guys because I ain't trying to make no enemies. Pair of gators on sale. And then he been waiting on them gators, and the price finally fell. The roommate situation. But you got obligations. Now your priorities, what are your priorities? Is he not a man of integrity? I don't know, he might, but what if his value system is kind of messy? See, everybody don't have the same value system. And so, again, I don't have the money. Now, this is the second time. Now, I don't know how this is going to go, but now, I'm like, well, John and I, we go to church together. I got to be honest with him. John, and I got them gators on. I know you got me last month, and I know I only gave you half of when I told you I was going to get it all. Look, bruh, I just feel a little short again, man. See, folks, that happens in real life. That stuff happens in real. See, this is the kind of stuff that I'd like to see more churches help their members with, those kind of situations. Because most of us know what's in this, backwards and forwards. But it's to be applied, not just memorized. See, because if I had really been after it, I'd have said, look, the brother had my back the first time, and I still didn't pay him all the way back. And what it said, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. And I told him I was going to pay him back in full. And not only did I only pay him half of it, then I turned around and got some stuff because it was more important to me to come to church with a pair of gators on and cause my roommate to have my back again because both our name on the lease. Saints, as times get tighter, more and more people are going to have to reprioritize their values. Why did you bring such trouble my way by telling the man you had another brother? See, that's why I was saying, if you just got to tell all your business, only keep your business on you, not your siblings, not your folks, not your cousins, not even your second cousins. And I'm saying this, I'm saying it in a joking manner, saints, but I'm serious. Because, see, a lot of times we think we're innocently talking, and we're bringing trouble to people. And that wasn't our intent. But that's what happens. What is it? Loose lips sink ships. Yeah, he said, why did you bring such trouble my way by telling the man you had another brother? They answered. The man kept questioning us about ourselves and about our kinsmen. See, so some of us said, well, they asked me, I couldn't lie. You know, see, that's how saints misinterpret scriptures sometimes. If it could cost somebody their life, it's okay to tell a lie. It's okay to tell an untruth. Is that more palatable for the Most High's people? I remember we had a situation here, and I ain't even go call it. This was quite a while ago. And another brother and I, we had to call this brother, and he was living with his mother. And both of us was trying to get in contact with him. And his mother was no dummy. Because when I asked to speak to the guy, and she asked, and what is this concerning? Now, if she had been one of them ones that was like, well, everybody's all right. Oh, yeah, well, hold it, he right here. See, the brother was ducking us. Yeah, he was ducking us. And I didn't know where he lived because I would have gone to see him. And I wouldn't have started no fight or nothing. But we had to get a matter straight. That lady wisely was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll have him contact you. That was the correct response. See, a lot of times in our giving up information, you may be giving up something that could hurt the very one you love. That's why I was saying, folks, be cautious about how much you share. Please. All right, I'm going to move on. He said, why y'all bring me all this trouble? And then they said, he kept questioning us about ourselves and about our kinsmen. He asked, is your father still alive? Of course, Joseph trying to get the 411. It's been forever. Y'all kicked me off in a pit. How's Pop doing? You know, he didn't say it like that. He was just, is your father still alive? He's trying to get some information. And of course, they were afraid because they was like, man, this dude, he talking to us kind of rough through an interpreter. Because that was in earlier. And then he asked him, do you have another brother? And we answered according to the literal meaning of his questions. How were we to know that he would bring your brother down? Judah said to Israel, his father, send the boy with me, and we will make preparations and leave, so that we may stay alive and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I myself will guarantee his safety. You can hold me responsible. If I fail to bring him to you and present him to your face, let me bear the blame forever. Except for our lengthy delay, we would have been there again by now. So naturally, the father was like, look, I done lost one son. And now this guy's asking for my youngest Benjamin. So, which also tells us that he had I'm not going to say he had more of an affinity for Benjamin, because I'm sure he loved all of his sons. But as I have said in times past, most parents will never tell you, but I would have to think, after raising their children, parents can look, when they see you in your grown state, they can still probably remember the stages in your life. And along with the stages in your life, how much trouble were you throughout those stages? And all of us would like to think, well, I was their favorite. And then it says, their father, Israel answered them, if that's how it is, do this. Take in your containers some of the land's best products and bring the man a gift. Here we talking about. Now he said, take some of the best. See, we talk about first fruits, first fruits offering everything. Really, I mean, that's how we learned it. But really, is give of your best. Remember that. Give of your best. What did Abel do? What he had, he gave of his best. Cain gave, but his heart. And if his heart was a certain kind of way, do you think maybe he gave his best? I'm just, you don't have to answer. Just think about that. So with first fruits coming up, remember, just give of your best. Give the best that you can at that time. See, this thing about Torah, the instructions are not as rigid as we make them. They're free-flowing. They are free-flowing. And again, I'm not saying this like I got it down, because I'm still learning too. And I'll be learning until I expire. But I'm learning to do, not just recite. Because in the doing, we may be able to sidestep some challenges. We're not going to sidestep them all. Take in your container some of the land's best products and bring the man a gift, some healing resin, a little honey, aromatic gum, opium. That's what it's saying here. Now, y'all know what opium is. Opium. They were snorting coke? I'm just kidding. I know they use, I think opium is in some medicines, I think, being serious now. Pistachio nuts and almonds. Take twice the amount of money with you and return the money that came back with you in your packs. And of course, we all know Joseph had that money put back in there. He had, the first time, he had that money put back in there. See, because he was still Again, he loved his brothers, but he didn't forget what they did to him. And see, even in Christianity, we talk about you just got to forgive and forget. Well, I'm not trying to start a fight. Yes, we have to forgive. But you might want to hold on to the pain, because that will help you to refrain from making the same mistake again. That's not only in life, that's in who you continually spend a lot of time around. If somebody is constantly bringing you pain, and you constantly got to keep forgiving, and I know it says, how many times do I have to forgive my brother for the same offense? In the New Testament, it says that he says 7 times 70 or something like that. Let me ask you this. How many times does somebody have to drop a bowling ball on your foot before either you will remove yourself from their presence? Because the first time it was a mistake. But the same thing keep happening over and over and over again. And so if we take the way that it's been taught to us, some of us might actually think God wants us to stay there and allow them to keep dropping the bowling ball on our foot. I don't think so. See, this is where you got to really get into Torah for real. Saints, we are not put here to just be mishandled and abused. That's not what we're here for. Take twice the amount of money with you and return the money that came back with you in your packs. It could have been an oversight. Now that's what the father's saying. He said, hey, they could have been an oversight. And see, when he said that, folks, you know what he was actually trying to do? He was trying to make himself feel better because he knew he was letting his youngest son go again. See, sometimes in life, we've said, you know, Mama, can I do this? Daddy, can I do that? And they really don't want you to because you might hurt yourself. I remember, like it was yesterday, I had a chance to get a 1977 green stick in the floor Hertz 4-speed Nova. And the guy didn't want but $600 for it. And I was so excited. I had a little part-time job. I was making maybe about $35 or $50 a week. And I had money saved. And I was so excited. And there's a guy that I went to high school with. I ain't even going to call his name because he's still doing good. He's a brick mason doing real well. And he said, listen, man, I'm going to get something else. And he had the big tires on it. That's back in the day. You know, we liked the muscle cars back then. And he was going to get something else. And I was so excited. I said, well, look, let me go home and, you know, I got to talk to my folks. And if they say it's okay, I'm going to get it. And I had the money. I was so excited. And that thing was nice. And I went home and I told my mother, I said, look, I can get this car. And she sat there and she let me describe it and all that. She saw how excited I was. And she said, no, Bear. That's what she used to call me, Bear. She said, no, Bear. No. You can't get that. You can't, no. She said, boy, you will wrap yourself around a tree in that car. Because that thing was fast. It was fast. And it wasn't a new car, because I knew I couldn't get that. And I was so disappointed. And the guy actually, he kept his word. He waited. I went to school the next day and I told him I couldn't get it. And I think that thing sold in no time. You know, so what he was doing then, he was saying, hey, maybe the money in the sack was an oversight. Maybe this man is going to be a man of integrity. Because he's saying, I've already told him to go ahead and take Benjamin. And sometimes, saints, when we're going through a challenge, and sometimes we're facing a situation, sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. And sometimes, saints, we should stop second-guessing ourselves. If you have calmly sat there, surveyed the situation, looked at it, once you've made the decision, go ahead and go with it. Don't keep second-guessing yourself. So he realized once he had told him, all right, now take the boy down there. It could have been an oversight. Yes, and take your brother too. And get ready and go again to the man. And he said, may El Shaddai give you favor in the man's sight, so that he will release to you your other brother as well as Benjamin. As for me, if I must lose my children, lose them I will. Saints, that's faith. Let me read it again. See, we got all kind of definitions for faith. Take twice the amount of money with you and return the money that came back with you in your packs. It could have been an oversight. Yes, and take your brother too and get ready and go again to the man. May Yah give you favor in the man's sight, so that he will release to you your other brother as well as Benjamin. As for me, if I must lose my children, lose them I will. Now you got to have, that's real faith there. It's not what we've been trained to say what faith is. And I'm not coming against anybody's ministry or anything like that. Because for years, when somebody asks the definition, that's the first thing pop out of my mouth. But look at what this guy had on the line. Now, in his mind at that time, he'd already lost one son. Joseph, his favorite. Now, some man that he didn't know was Joseph wanted him to bring Benjamin. And the other one was still there, too, as a surety. Simeon. And after all of that, after he said, hey, perhaps it was an oversight, Yah be with you. And then he said, as for me, whatever you do, Father, you do well. And that's hard. That's hard, folks, when stuff not going our way. That's real faith. Real faith is, even if I perish, I'm still going to be with him. Now, that's a tough ticket, because all of us want to go to heaven, but don't none of us want to leave here right now. I see it, Reg. I'm going to close on that. That was real faith. I mean, when I read stuff like that, I don't, folks, I'm going to close. We have that kind of faith. That's why people are going to come to you. Because, like I said, it may not always be of a financial nature. It may be of a situation that's not maybe even life or death, but it may be something very serious in that person's life. And they're seeking counsel from you. And that's no small thing, saints. That's not a small thing. You might be their last hope. God bless you. May heaven smile upon you.